this meeting of the Lenox School Committee. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast on CTSB TV Education Channel 1302 and will be rebroadcast on CTSB TV. Welcome everybody back for yet another school year. We are delighted to be back at Town Hall in the cozy confines of the Select Board room. And we had a few different opening of the school year items to hit that I will hand over to Dr. Collins.
All right. Did you want, or do you want me to introduce our student representative?
I'll do that.
Okay.
I guess that's part of opening the year. We also have a new member of the committee. We have a student representative joining us this year. So I wanted to welcome Libby and insist that she tell us something about herself.
My name's Libby Goff. I've been a student in the Lenox school system since preschool. I am the class president of 2028, and I'm involved in student council, student advisory, and we just started the Maroon and Gold Club this year for Spirit at school. So, and then I do a lot of sports. Just came from practice.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you making the time to join us. It's obviously a commitment and it's a perspective we really want to have on the committee. So we will have various times during the year when there will be particular points, but keep in mind that your input is welcome on anything. So you're here with the rest of us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We kicked off the year with our mentor new teacher induction and orientation program, and then followed by when all of the staff came back for convocation. And I do have some thank yous to our community partners who helped make convocation a success. Adams Community Bank, Ilotta, the frozen yogurt folks, Bagel and Brew, Berkshire Botanical Gardens, Bohema Pizzeria, Canyon Ranch, the Deer Bottle Shop and Provisions, Dufour Bus Company, Frankie's Restaurante, Kimball Farms, Kripalu, Lee Bank, The Mount for hosting us in their beautiful space. We were in an outdoor tent. It was it couldn't have been more lovely. Shakespeare and Company, Shots Cafe, and Stop and Shop. Thank you to all those community partners. Enrollment. So we begin this year with an identical enrollment to what we ended last year in June with, which is 764 students pre-K to 12. A couple of shifts. There were 15 fewer school choice students this year than last year. We have one fewer tuition out student, one more tuition in student, and 14 more resident students. And we've got some staffing updates as well. New staff, Renee Altmar, Spanish teacher at middle and high school. We've got Jessie Bazinet, who is not new. She's returning, but returning as middle school ELA interventionist for us. Susan Conley, special education teacher, Morris. Margaret Esposito, special education teacher at the middle high school. Rita Flynn, an LEA teacher at the middle high school. Eric Furlong is our woodshop teacher at the middle high school. Pierre Leger is our French teacher at the middle high school. Sheena Piccolo is our Spanish teacher, middle high school. Tal Robin is math teacher, middle high school. Christy Val Cruz, science teacher, middle high school. Shannon Adams is a special education paraprofessional at Morris. Ellie Bailey, special education paraprofessional, Morris. Jenna Bessie is a pre-K paraprofessional at Morris. Anna Carpenter is the front office clerical receptionist at Morris. Sophie D. Grigoli is our pre-K paraprofessional at Morris. Jennifer O'Brien is a cook at Morris. And Kimberly Abderholland is a middle school math interventionist at the middle high school. So we welcome all of them and glad they have joined our team. Back to you.
Did you want to say something about the kindergarten
Yes, I've got that in my highlights.
Perfect, we will come back to it then. Excellent. Welcome all to all the teachers. That is an excellent new crop we've got coming in.
Yes, it is. Yep.
All right, we have hearing of visitors. If there's any public comment anyone wanted to make? Having none, we have correspondence. Just one letter that's linked in the agenda. We'd seen earlier there had been an inquiry from the Zoning Board of Appeals regarding a fence adjacent to the school property. They have now rendered their decision, which I believe is a satisfactory construction of a
Absolutely.
fence. So that's very exciting. And then on to the board report. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve, which we can do with a single motion if somebody wanted to make it.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for the workshop, the excellent minutes from the workshop of July
Let the record show that was Amy Nowitzki chuckling in the back.
July 23rd, 2025.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. All right, and then I guess the other one? Or did you get them both in the motion?
I did not, but I will
Okay.
make a motion to accept the minutes of June 9th, 2025.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, the minutes are all approved. We have an announcement of a vacancy, as folks may have seen. Veronica Fenton, longtime member of the committee, has moved out of Lenox, and as a result, I think much to her regret, is required to vacate her seat. I very much enjoyed working with her, and she's somebody who's just contributed an incredible amount of time to the committee, both during her most recent, I think, 5-year stint, and before that had been on the committee earlier, always very involved in the town. So we certainly all wanted to extend our thanks for her long service. She will be missed, and as a result, we have a vacancy to fill. So that has been formally posted. You can find it in all the places you see notices posted, and the process is simply anybody who wants to apply just has to provide some information about themselves, a letter of interest, any qualifications they might want to detail. The deadline for that is next Monday, September 15th. Those would be sent directly to me. You can find all of my contact information on the LPS website. And then the school committee and the select board will meet together on Wednesday, September 24th. And anyone who has thrown their hat in the ring will have a few minutes to introduce themselves to the group, and then the group has to choose somebody to join us for the rest of this year. And so it's just a 1-year term. If you've always thought maybe you wanted to be on the school committee, but not for too long, this is a great opportunity. We guarantee you'll be hooked by the end of the year. Let the record show there's more chuckling from the peanut gallery. And then that position will be open for a regular election come May. So if you have any questions also, please feel free to get in touch either with the town office, with the administration, or with me, ocas@lennoxps.org. We would love to have somebody join us. And final item on the board report is just the school committee agenda planning. As with last year, we have started to specify for each of the meetings this year what the items are that we'll aim to hit on the agenda. Some of those are the standard things we always hit at the same meeting every year. Some of those are things that we discussed at the workshop or otherwise have discussed putting on agendas. So at our next meeting, we want to discuss tuition agreements that are coming up for renewal, particularly with Richmond. We'll need to discuss Unit C negotiations in an executive session at that point. At the October meeting, I think we'll try to do an initial tech discussion. Hopefully the tech subcommittee can have had a couple of meetings by then. In November, we'll have a presentation from LEAF about efforts to start to build up that endowment fund concept, and so on and so forth. So definitely encourage everyone to take a look at that. We will, as with last year, I'm sure make modifications, but also we can always make additions. So anything else you might want to have on the agenda, just say so. And don't know if anyone had any questions about that we can touch on, but otherwise I would say we have a robust year ahead of us. All right, and with that, I believe we're back over to you.
Okay, highlights and recognitions. Both schools off to a wonderful start. It really was a very positive, upbeat start to the school year in both buildings. Kindergarten, I just wanted to mention that it started a little differently than it has historically. At the end of last year, Principal Kelly and Assistant Principal Schools came to me with the 3 kindergarten teachers and said, hey, we do one-on-one academic testing, but we don't look at the social aspects, how students interact with each other. Would you consider piloting something where it may be an inconvenience for the first 2 days to have half days and have all of the teachers involved and watch the students and how they interact, and then have so that the remaining 178 days will be smoother with taking that into consideration as the classrooms are set. So apologies for 2 days of inconvenience to anyone, but we're really confident that it's going to pay off for the rest of the year, and we think it was a sound approach. Additionally, we are going to be piloting, the state has a pilot for specialized instruction support personnel rubric. So previously, if you were a school adjustment counselor or you had a job in the school, a guidance counselor, school nurse, you had the exact same tool that a teacher had, and that rubric just didn't make sense. So I'm really pleased that the state is piloting this, and we've decided in collaboration with the LEA that we're going to let folks volunteer, so that there are very job-specific rubrics now for those folks. So we're really we're excited about that people can have be judged on components of their job and not someone else's job. Morris started off we had a smoothie taste test. If you follow us on Facebook or our website or Instagram, you would have seen some wonderful pictures of students doing the taste test. That was fun and exciting. There's a lot of healthy food choices, and we've been listing the local farms that are supporting us. Shannon Gigliotto is doing an outstanding job. We have at the middle high school, we have Rose Dupree is doing a toiletry drive for the Elizabeth Freeman Center, the Center for Abused Women, and so she is she's championing this cause, and she's championed previous causes in other years, and we're really proud of her effort. Additionally, the Kindness Crew is off and started a new initiative at LMHS. 23 students and 12 staff, 30 days of kindness initiatives kicking off the school year. They were the ones that were giving flowers as the staff was arriving at convocation off the school buses. And we've got a French immersion field trip, change of destination. Here to speak to that?
Okay. Hello. Hi. My name is Louise. You don't know me. I teach French at the high school. And last spring, you approved a trip to Marseille, France. Hello. And since then, the cost has just been rising. The flights to Marseille have just been over the summer up and up and up, and the company I've been working with have just been sending me emails that are getting more and more distressing. So in the meantime, this summer I worked with a different company, the same one that we worked with last year for the Spain trip, and the same company that I've worked with in the past for Montreal and Quebec, to come up with an itinerary for Paris that is a lot less expensive, over $600 less expensive, and then if we have less kids, even more. So it's way more affordable, and I'm hoping that you'll approve that change from Marseille to Paris for financial reasons.
Any other changes in terms of dates or?
The dates are the same. The itinerary is different necessarily, but I put my stamp on it as best I could, making sure there are a lot more activities, like scavenger hunts and baking opportunities for the kids to really interact. That's why I chose the Marseille itinerary, because I really wanted the kids to be able to use their French. So I made sure with this itinerary to Paris that while it was Paris, they would still have the opportunity to use their French and to experiment with the language. So I really made sure that there were the playing games and market searches, things like that.
I recommend that the committee accept this, and I commend Madame Dupuis for being cognizant of the cost to families and adjusting the trip.
Thank you.
Any other question? All right, I guess we need a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve the new location destination for the French field trip.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much.
All right. I think, all right, next is the Pathways field trip to New York City.
Hello, I'm Tara Romeo. I am proposing we have a trip hopefully scheduled for New York City. We're going to Wall Street for the first time since I've been with the district. Our first stop would be the Fed, followed by a workshop on budgeting and savings, then a little bit of touring right downtown Lower Manhattan, and then we're going to head over to the New York Stock Exchange to hear the closing bell. So that's what we're hoping to do. It's for our Business Pathways program, which is for business and finance. And it would likely be upperclassmen.
I recommend that the committee support this Business Pathways trip to New York City.
And it looks like it's entirely funded by the grant funding for the program. All right. Any other questions?
No questions.
All right. If someone wants to make
I'll
a
make a
motion.
motion to accept the field trip request to New York City, the Fed, the New York Stock Exchange, as presented.
A second.
I'll second.
Megan.
Megan. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much.
I'm asking that you approve the donated services of Pignatelli Electric. It was worth $2,125 for the installation of our new scoreboard.
All right.
I'd
Motion.
like to make a motion, to approve the donation made by Pignatelli Electric.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you to Pignatelli Electric.
Right.
Before we move on,
Yes.
is this the gentleman who would have
Yes.
a comment? Sir, had you been interested in making a public comment? Or are you just here to attend?
I would like to take a 3-minute comment.
Yeah, we are past that point in the agenda, but if there's no objection from anyone on the committee, I'd hope to put him in here.
I have no objection.
All right.
This is Mr. Roulette.
I'm Henry Willett. I live over here on Birchwood Lane. I've been a resident of town for almost 50 years. I was involved at the Berkshire County House of Correction for volunteer work in the chaplain's office. When, after 4 years of working there, I did a total of 6, we found that 50% of the inmates that are in for drug and alcoholic offenses are dyslexic. And 70% of all the juvenile court cases are dyslexic. We looked where in this information is, and I've had a couple of meetings with Dr. Collins and also with the Kellys, and I put forth a package for you that would like to hand out because I would take a little more than the 3 minutes that you authorized for guests to speak. And dyslexia is a invisible disability. And this disability affects their ability to read and to write. And because of that, the average student in the school systems that have this condition get grades of C's, D's, and F's as a general course of grade level. So to improve this area, I have some recommendations that the school department may be able to use. It's cyber education. It's been used by the DOE. It's been used in other areas. In the package I'm going to hand out, it does have a company that is available, but any company that does the work is fine. The difference is that these people have a general IQ of above average to genius with grades of C's, D's, and F's. That means the school system is not prepared or capable of handling their needs. The problem that all we're asking is not special education, is accommodation. By all the school teachers understanding that someone that has this condition has to have little kid gloves handling. Most people receive, and I only received in the past, extra time to take a test. Period. They're expected to know the subject and everything else. But reading is a problem. With reading, it takes time where the normal brain, in my handout illustration, will show you the physical difference between a dyslexic's brain and the average person's brain. By the way, 20% of the people in the world have dyslexia. I calculate 1,500 students in Berkshire County in the 24 towns and 2 cities would be the average number of people that have dyslexia. And unfortunately, Lenox, with a 790 student count, has approximately 91 students that are undiagnosed. The only way to diagnose them is by a medical doctor, a neuro psychologist, a psychologist, or someone who has the training and certification to test them. Other than that, they are not dyslexic. I am
Wrap up, but we would definitely love to just keep it.
Okay. So the thing is you have psychologists, but the psychologists, as far as I can find out, no one in your system has been tested. We checked their records, and no school personnel have requested reimbursement to take a course on dyslexia. Berkshire County has only one teacher that we know about that is certified to teach dyslexics.
All right, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off there, but
Thank you.
I appreciate your passion for this and certainly any information you can share with us. You can just give them to her.
I have this for you.
Thank
If
you.
you want more, they are available. I can send a,
Thank you.
an email that you can print more off.
Thank you.
That book I handed is what every teacher should know about dyslexia, and that's from the International Dyslexic Association.
Thank you for coming,
Thank you for your time.
appreciate it. Oh, could we grab one more for her? All right, back to you, sir.
Okay, all right. When the voter initiation ballot passed, removing MCAS as a graduation requirement, DESI then worked to try to figure out what would take its place. And so every district is responsible to come up with a competency determination. And in your packet, you have our draft of that. And it meets all of the requirements that DESI has set forth for this. It is a requirement to have this competency by 10th grade. Graduation requirements, on the other hand, go all the way to 12th grade. So if there are specific questions about competency determination, I need to file ours by the end of December with DESI, so there is time to look this over, to come back, to have a more in-depth conversation if there are specific concerns. But this does meet the requirements that DESI has put out.
And are there any changes beyond what we were previously doing absent the MCAS, or is this essentially, as Lenox has been operating, there's just not the MCAS element? So
part of the reason that it's a good question. Part of the reason that DESI came up with this was because there were some districts that there was a fear that they would let their standards slip. We're not one of them. We are our standards are high. Our standards will remain high regardless of whether MCAS is a 10th grade graduation or not. So this doesn't, and I can ask Dr. Ames if there any substantial change to what we've been doing. No.
Personally,
No.
And in the period when, up until now, when we had been using MCAS, was MCAS serving as a gating function? In other words, were there people who were not graduating because of MCAS who now would under these standards?
That there were a very small number of cases where a student, so if a student did not pass the MCAS, but they came fairly close, there's a published range, we were able to simply supplant passing MCAS with passing grades on similar courses that are listed here in the competency determination. If they didn't come close enough, we weren't given that option. And in some very unfortunate cases, we weren't able to offer them a high school diploma. In again, a small number of cases, we had students with significant special needs, and we were able to competency determination prior to rethinking MCAS's requirement, and that you document how they've met our graduation requirement as of roughly 10th completion of 10th grade. And we were able to do that in a very small number of cases every year. But again, just to reiterate what Dr. Collins is proposing, there's nothing new in this. This is simply documenting what we always did, even with MCAS in place as a graduation requirement.
Any other questions?
I mean, I do see here, yeah, in section 5, kind of getting back to what we were talking about, the diploma request process for previously enrolled students. Is that something that for those that we weren't able, to help out and get them the diploma, will we be reaching out to them just to?
So what the state has done, to be fair, is they've put a particular look back timeline of students who would be in that position where they wouldn't have been able to get a diploma because of the MCAS, and they now have an opportunity to fall under these requirements and petition for their diploma. I believe that maybe there was one student that fell under that. They could have petitioned and we
Yes, I think the question, it's a very small number. I think the
Yeah.
question at hand is, what is the school's responsibility in reaching out to these individuals, these families? Or as it's been published by the state, the burden falls on the former student to reach out back to, I think it's
2003 to 2024.
Thank you.
Right.
Yep.
I believe, as published, the burden falls on them. We as a district might want to consider reaching out to students first who weren't able to clear that hurdle, to see if we could be helpful in a review of the transcript. But that would be for us to determine at a later date.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, good question.
Well, I think for purposes of this meeting, we just had it on the agenda to present. Folks can take a look, see if you have any other questions, and then we'll have it on the agenda for the next meeting to officially adopt.
Perfect. Okay. All right. This is the meeting for the superintendent's goals. And there we go. All right. It's like it's been up there the whole time now. So I am not sure what. Boy? There we go. All right. So continuing the work, extending the vision, and building upon our successes. It really is preserving our strengths while adapting to change is the motto of this. So what I'm going to do, hopefully quickly and efficiently, is review last year's goals. You see where we're coming from and what we're building upon. An emphasis on the continuity of where we've been. We really build better when we don't make a lot of drastic changes, and we people know where we're going and what's expected of them. So the commitment to stability and progress. So key successes and milestones from last year, right? So we strengthened administrative cohesiveness. So in you're really working from being a group of separate administrators to an administrative team, and we still continue to do this, but really to have shared leadership and strengthen our communication and work together as effectively as possible. And there's some real power in that collective efficacy. Building trusting partnerships with our association and our union. Trying to, we may not always agree perfectly, but we're going to be respectful and value what everybody brings to the table. And most of the time, we do agree, and everybody at the table wants what's in the best interest of our staff. Kudos to Principal Kelly and Assistant Principal Sewells in expanding the PBIS at Morris, being proactive about behavioral supports to reduce disruptions and strengthen the school climate. We've used the climate survey, so we're trying to make data-based decisions, and our shift over to the Power School special programs so that we have all of this student information in one place that can be accessed. And then our facilities coordinator, the Mr. Hines, that has been just a fantastic addition, and he works tirelessly to help us improve the facilities in the fields. We've working, of course, continuing expanding inclusion and well-being. Right, we've implemented infused staff wellness and welcome initiatives for not just new staff but existing staff as well. We've continued with student and community inclusivity programs. We had the ADL peer leaders, the safe school consultation, our very specific Lenox PD designed for us, by us. and working on student leadership, and I'm thrilled that we have a student leader right here at the table with us. It's wonderful. Educator skill building, district and really district tailored growth. Strengthening instructional systems, because at the end of the day, right, that's why we're here, is for our academics and our instruction. So the curriculum and alignment and principal / director of curriculum instruction and assessment, Kelly has exceeded the expectations. I set out some goals, and she's far exceeded them, and moved into a place where we're really looking at being in a position next year, a year ahead of schedule, to have assistant principal schools take over as principal of the Morris School, and to have full-time director Kelly doing the curriculum piece. We've investing in educators and classroom practices. Our recruitment strategies have expanded. We've cast a wider net. Our mentoring induction program, I am absolutely convinced, is going to be a gold standard for the state as we continue this work. The instructional leadership team, the work in having teacher leaders and giving more ownership into this and more voice, and then increased co-teaching opportunities. So to move from our only tool being a pull-out situation to having our students with special education students be able to stay in the classroom with their peers. We've been working on aligning curriculum and resources, the budget alignment, and kudos to Ms. Fikowski. We have been having we had a model where it was all sort of out of the superintendent's office, and we've been working to have the leaders have a more active involvement in budgeting. The better that they understand and control portions of their budget, the better served those schools are, and the better the ideas that they can put forth to us about changes or where money should be spent. So really the spirit of site-based management. And I do want to give another shout out to Mrs. Falkowski. I've worked with a lot of business administrators, and she so gets tying the money to the mission. And it isn't just about numbers, it's about the mission and how we can support the mission. And she does a really nice job with that. Curriculum oversight, as I mentioned before, strengthening alignment. Director Kelly's the right person for this job, and again, she's a year ahead of schedule. Collective efficacy, building shared belief in our educators' ability to impact outcomes, and having us all read from the same sheet of music or paddle in the same direction, whatever the metaphor that we want to use. That really, the research suggests that is one of the biggest levers that we can have. And advancing rigor and relevance, right? Diverse text and close reading at Morris, and thank you to the committee for supporting the ELA interventionists. We now have 2 middle school interventionists, math and ELA, and we are fully staffed in that department and ready to make any gaps significantly smaller and bring students up to grade level who aren't there. And then connecting learning to the students' lives. We just had Tara Romeo from Guidance here, but looking at things that we're doing, such as the pathways, internships. We've reached out to community partners internally and externally. We've got students from the high school coming down to read and be role models to the students at Morris. we've updated our program of studies and have some more virtual selections for a school our size. The number of offerings available, both academic and after school, are truly impressive. And then continue on expanding real-world opportunities, our business partner expansions, internships, career exploration, pathways, and really at the direction of the school committee, moving toward even those who may not want to pursue higher education post their secondary education, to embracing career-bound students and having that every path has dignity, and we respect all of the students. So framing the goals for this year. So that was last year, framing the goals, building on these prior successes, aligning to our strategic plan. You'll see that all of my goals align to this strategic plan. Consistency across our initiatives and focus on student outcomes, climate, and leadership. So these are the high points of the strategic plan as it stands in development, but these are them. And then my first goal, continue, deepen belonging and safety, continue to broaden the PBIS elements, and even if it isn't a PBS program, there are some universal truths and research that show to be true, and to expand some of that up to the middle schools, some stuff that has proved to be so effective in pre-K to 5. Continue to expand the educator mentorship program, and strengthening student and staff wellness programming. Goal 2, to elevate the instructional excellence. And we continue to provide targeted professional development on high-impact instructional strategies, co-teaching and mentoring our PD. Not this year, but next year, the county-wide PD day is going to be aligned with our PD day. So I think that's for a small school, that's quite an accomplishment, and I'm very very proud of that, to recognize that the rest of the county is going to align with when we do our PD. And observation consistency. So we've a unified platform now. We've streamlined evaluation. All the administrators have been trained in the exact same evaluation observation procedures, to be able to have folks who are being observed have confidence in that it's going to be fair, and the inter-rater reliability is going to be pretty tight. So regardless of who's doing your evaluation, you expect to have a pretty similar outcome. And then better recognize and utilize the supports of our paraprofessionals. I think for a long time they have felt underutilized and under-recognized, and we're working to change that. We're working to have our professional development have opportunities specifically for them. Some of our neediest students spend the most time with our paraprofessionals, and we need to make sure that we're supporting what they do and helping them to do it well. Goal 3 is to harness innovation and community relevance. So expand our partnerships. Had some meetings with MCLA, and we're expanding our opportunities with our community partners. I read the long list of folks that, when we said, hey, we've got convocations, anyone willing to step up and help our teachers? It's a pretty big list. We've got some wonderful partners, and we're building some good relationships, and we're looking for it to be two-way. If there are things that we can do to help them, as well as them helping us, and then a big piece of what's coming down the pike is artificial intelligence, and how do we explore its potential, and at the same time preserve what makes Lenox and what makes us great. And so our partnership with MIT and the Day of AI to help guide us in that work. And in that work, we don't want to get lost of, again, who we are, but at the same time, we want to be preparing students for the world that they're going to inherit. And advanced curriculum alignment and resource planning to support inquiry-based learning and post-secondary readiness. And then my final goal, the fourth goal, is professional growth and leadership development. Continue to work with the admin team, leadership development. I do see that, my job is not just to support them in the roles that they're in, but to prepare them to take on the next roles. One of the criticisms that I've heard from other districts is that we don't, in Lenox, we don't hire from within, and we don't build our own pipeline, and we don't tap our own leaders. So looking to do that with our admin team, looking to do that with our teachers that have a passion for leadership. And it doesn't necessarily mean coming into an admin role. We've got teacher leaders in all sorts of positions. But one of the things about the profession of education is that there aren't, unless you go into administration, there aren't a whole lot of places for you to go. So you do a similar job for your entire career. And one of the ways that we keep people jazzed and engaged is we look at the things that they are passionate about and give them opportunities to be leaders in our own community and have leadership. We see that right now with our mentoring program, just to name one. So growing our own, adapting to the changing technology, and supporting continuous improvement. So at the end of the day, is steady progress through stability. There isn't anything in there that is completely new. It's just adding building blocks to the foundation that we've already started. But I am available for questions and clarification.
That was pretty comprehensive.
I think you did it, yeah.
All right.
That sounds terrific.
All right.
We'll check in a few months to make sure it's all
Questions
done.
Well,
Okay.
questions done.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
So that concludes your report.
It concludes my report. Thank you.
Excellent. We are on to new business, the most exciting portion of each meeting. Today we have subcommittee focus, which is just based on what we discussed at the workshop and the interest folks had expressed. I believe what we are headed for this year is 4 different subcommittees. The standard finance, which will be focused on budget issues that Mike DuPont would chair. Human resources, which will be focused on the full range of human resource issues, but especially this year negotiating the Unit C contract. And Megan Kirby would chair that. Governance and policy, which we had tabled as a deal with new policy last year as we got the full revision over the finish line, but in the process have now queued up a bunch of policy issues that do need to be addressed. So we'd bring that back, and Megan would chair that one as well. And then technology, which we heard a lot about just now in Dr. Collins' presentation, was something that came up a bunch in the workshop in different contexts, both the unhelpful technologies that are interfering with learning and the helpful technologies that can promote learning was something I think folks were interested in, both just getting a better handle on, understanding how we're using it in Lenox, and understanding what other opportunities might be out there. And so I would chair that one. We also have just 2 other ongoing items. One will be with the addition of student leadership, would want to have a liaison to the committee at the school, and Kim Winger has offered to take that on. And then we have the continuation of capital improvement planning, which we'll actually talk about a bit more in the next item. But that's something that Mike and I have both been involved in and would continue on. And so I think everyone would essentially find themselves on 2 different subcommittees. And we have also a spot for whoever our new committee member to be determined to plug right in. So per our policies, I am supposed to formulate those, but it is subject to your approval. So if it meets with your approval, would need a motion to that effect, and we can continue or can certainly discuss or table or modify now or at any point in the future.
So you need a motion to accept these subcommittees?
Yes.
Make a motion to accept the subcommittees as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So constituted. We will start kicking off something along the lines of the monthly cadence for subcommittees to meet. So that'll be up to chairs to schedule. And then we will also start to have on the agenda, certainly at the end of every meeting, an opportunity for updates on anything, but also in that schedule for the year, we have sort of slotted in different checkpoints where it will make sense to be checking back in on the relevant elements. Last item under unfinished business then is an update relating to capital planning and the MSBA project. When the committee was last meeting in a regular session at the end of last year, there had been discussion of plans for an expansion or an addition at LMHS. Somewhat surprisingly, I think to everybody, we had been admitted into the MSBA process, which is the Massachusetts School Building Administration Association Authority. There you go. Authority, which is a program that helps support districts in funding major new building projects with money from the state. As we moved forward, both with MSBA, which was a wonderful partner in helping us understand what this would actually look like, with our own internal team, figuring out what we might need, how we might budget, talking with the town manager, the select board, and also a project manager who has experience in these kinds of projects. What became clear was that the thing that we were envisioning, which was essentially a small addition to an existing building, is not at all what the program is really designed for. So, by contrast, if you followed the news about the Monument Mountain project, it's, $180 million project or something. Potentially the state covers 80 million of it, and so everything that comes with that obviously makes sense. In our context, $20 to $30 million project, some of which probably not in the scope of what the state would reimburse anyway. The total amount of potential reimbursement relative to everything extra you do to be in the process just didn't really pencil out. And so the committee that had been working all along on this project that was sort of formally constituted under the MSBA process took a unanimous decision to exit that MSBA process at this point. I think something strongly supported by the town manager, by the select board, by the administration. And we realized that what we really do need to be doing is developing much more of a 5-year plan. For a very long time, the schools have proceeded with sort of, here's your $400,000 for the year, figure out how to fill it, and don't leave any on the table, but also if you need more than that, too bad, push some of it to next year, which has covered a lot of needs, but has also left anything bigger than that unconsidered. And so there's a series of projects ranging from entire new structure to parking lot to locker rooms to HVAC and air conditioning that we all really realize we sort of need to sit down and sequence and figure out how much, what order does it make sense to do things in, what capacity will the town have to fund different pieces of it in different years. And so a small group of administrators from the schools, and this is why I mentioned that Mike and I have started meeting with them as well. Bob Vaughn, who's been very involved in the school building project all along, are now meeting with the project manager who has been managing other big projects for the town, like the public safety center, to actually scope out how big should each of these projects be, what should we expect it to cost, what order does it make sense to do it in? For instance, don't redo your parking lot before driving massive amounts of heavy equipment over it for your next project. And be in a position then to bring to town meeting next year a plan that says over the next 5 years, here's the set of things we all agree. Certainly come back to the school committee to review and approve, but also go to the finance committee, go to the permanent building committee, have a plan that hopefully everybody agrees with and we can present to the town that says there may be an extra $1 million next year. It might be $2 million 3 years from now because these are the things we need to knock out. And that at some point in the process when we know, given all the other building projects going on, as those start to kind of move, the pig moving through the python, as there starts to be more room for a new pig, we need a better metaphor. What's the right point to slot in the actual new structure and plan as far ahead as possible to hit that? So that is how things are proceeding that front. Certainly we will have lots of updates on that back to this committee. And I'm very optimistic that will put us in a position this spring, in the schedule for the year during the typical meetings when we would go through the capital plan and just look at the $400,000 items, we'll instead have this bigger conversation about what we think that 5-year plan looks like.
Can I just ask
yeah.
for an update on the roof situation? Like, where are we at with that? Is that part of this, or has that been delayed again, or are we?
Yeah, so it's a great question. There's 2 parts to it. One is that MSBA actually has 2 programs.
Right.
One is the very complicated build a new building,
Right.
and one is the very straightforward, we will help pay for your roof
Roofs
and
and
windows.
windows, okay.
And so we've spoken to them about that. They've said, absolutely, you're a great candidate for that. The next cycle for that would put us 2 years from now eligible for that
Yep.
funding. And so part of the planning we want to do, therefore, is to say, absolutely what needs to be done this year, next year, to get us to that point. And then as much as can be done 2 years from now, we'll be in position to have applied at the right time and have the state support for a potentially full roof at both schools.
So is it fixed now? Is it, we're doing the Band-Aid approach thing, or like, are we like, can we wait 2 years we can?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, some things need to be done sooner. I don't know, Melissa, if you want to speak to what we're doing this year,
So
next year.
It's at both schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's at both schools,
Yeah.
and when there is an issue identified, then there's a contractor that will come out and say, this is what we need to do to stop this. And that's still going to go on, so you've got to try to get it so that it's not affecting the interior building,
Right, that's,
but that you're taking care of the issue at the moment.
right.
And kind of limp towards the 2 years.
So we're gonna do the Band-Aid thing for the next 2 years, just so it doesn't,
Yes,
To-
and I've talked with the facilities coordinator.
mhm.
I don't know if you have, Bill, but he knows the roofs are the priority.
Yeah, and I should say, and I think gymnasium roof is a little bit separate. So on our list of things we need to hit in the period, there's the full both roofs, but there's also, sooner than that, we need to
Yeah.
figure out what it costs to do the gymnasium.
Yes.
Ideally, next year.
If I may.
Please.
We did ask MSBA if they would allow us to program jump, because we were already in the queue and accepted, and they said, no, sorry, you're not allowed to go from, you're accepted to one program based on the conditions and what you've requested, and you can't.
But an important distinction is that with the big school building thing, it is a sort of quite speculative, you might have to apply for 5 to 10 years before you're into it. The roof and windows and doors
Right.
is, there may be some eligibility issues and so forth, but by and large, if you fit the parameters, they try to get everybody in every cycle. So it is a much more, one never says certain, but it is a much more expected, yes, you will do it then, as opposed to the,
And
just keep submitting.
streamlined. It's very streamlined. You apply, you're in the program, you get the work done, and it's closed. It's not a 7, 8 year, it's
And-
probably 4 to 5 months.
And where the reimbursement that you can expect can vary on, depending on what they'll accept and what they won't with the building. It's just set for the roof, or for the roof project. We just get our full reimbursement, whatever that is determined to be at that time. Right now, I think it's just under 45% for us.
I believe it's 40 point something.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything you'd add on that? That cover,
No, that covered it very well.
all right?
May I again?
Please.
Sorry, just to add for the viewing audience, this step back was to be fiscally prudent to the town and the town's timelines and the expenses and such. But there's still a full will and dedication and commitment to having an addition. We're just trying to do it in a way that makes a lot of sense and fits in with the needs of the town.
All right. Well, that is everything we have on our agenda. If anyone wants to throw anything else in that's not on the agenda, we'll just break the rules and do that. But if not, we can adjourn for a few weeks. Not until someone's made a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Megan.
Megan,